Hello, and welcome to the Humanity, where we do the things with the stuff for the people. I'm Matt.
And I'm Tommy, and I did not think of a way to intro the show tonight, as far as say right now. So, welcome. We're talking about things. Um, yeah, titled the show tonight "When Facts Don't Matter." Just kind of talking about things with people. Particularly when it comes to matters like politics or religion, when people just seem very stuck in their ways, and we hear the whole there's the one mantra of like facts don't care about your feelings, but it seems a lot of times it's like feelings don't really care about facts. And how do you
Yep.
deal with that? So there, I think I that turned out pretty good for me not having any idea what I was doing going into that. So
There's a lot of
got
layers
me.
to this.
Mhm. Yeah. So, but before we get to those layers, I guess we'll start by saying what we're drinking tonight because I kind of want to get to mine. So,
Oh. All right. I'm having a wheat beer. I started crushing the can, which is why it's all jacked up.
it looks cool.
It's from
They should
Third
just.
Eye. It's only a 5%er.
I was
It's
gonna say with the crush can look, I would say they should just come that way. Also, that's what she said.
uh,
So,
she sounds like she's in charge. Um,
well, hey, some guys like that, or ladies too. We
telling
don't judge.
people
All right.
how things are gonna happen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's called Most Definitely.
Like a Hefeweizen,
Yeah,
because it's a wheat beer. Yeah.
it's really interesting. It's very bubbly.
Ooh.
It I My brain and my mouth think it's a wheat lager. Um,
Hmm. Interesting.
yeah, because
Like
there's
like a like a Weizenbach or something.
kind of
Hmm.
um, it's- I don't know. It's very confusing because
Yeah.
it's only a wheat beer in part of the ways and not in others as far as the experience goes.
Ooh. Yeah.
Um, and it's not the ones you think it'll be that it has. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm having
Okay.
an experience.
That's good. Those are good to have. So I'm back to picked up another 6 pack because I probably just as long as this stuff is still in stores because it's seasonal, I'll probably just keep having it in my house. The Mad Tree Rounding Third Red IPA, just because it's just really good. And I think it was on sale at Kroger. It was hard to tell because, like, in their beer section, things are sometimes in wrong spots. So it was at least in the spot of a beer that was on sale, and I don't pay attention to like the receipt that they give me back. So
No, that's very true that the beer is always in a different spot than it should be. It's a whole thing.
mhm.
Like any Kroger's you go to, you have to see if the label has the same name as the
Yeah,
beer.
yeah, but it was weird because it had two different spots for like Mad Tree beers. Like it had like the ones labeled for like their Psychopathy and Happy Amber, and like the other like normal ones.
Mhm.
But there were two spots, and they had two different prices that were about $1 different. One said seasonal, and the other said rotating 6 pack. So I don't know which one this one qualifies
Great
at.
work, everyone.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very clear.
So, but yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm drinking tonight. So, but before we get to the topic, I realized a couple nights ago, I don't know, I just like go to bed watching YouTube videos, mostly like video game related. So a lot of times, like things blur together as far as like when exactly. But apparently, I need to issue a couple corrections from a month ago or so when during the second drink segment I had a good time doing a rather lengthy roast of Elon Musk's build for his character in Elden Ring. And it turns out there were a couple things I was nitpicking him on that I didn't get quite right. In one instance, I was actually going a little too hard on him for something, but found out something else where I wasn't going hard on him enough. So I
Got to balance the
Chris,
scales.
yes. So in
Somebody's
the
got to do
interest,
it. He's not going to do it.
right? Uh, fuck. Anyway, so I figure just in the interest of like fairness and accuracy, I'll try to quickly get through this now. So one of the things, the area where I was too hard on him on was, and please like go back and look. But speaking of which, remind me that there's something else I need to say about our past videos before we get on to the topic. But I want to finish this
Okay.
first. So,
Uh-oh.
so yeah, so go back and watch that. I don't remember. I think it was one of the episodes we were doing video reactions on, but not the most recent one. Anyway, so one of the things I was kind of ripping him on because he was trying to build like a like kind of magey like magic user type of build, and I said he only like of the like different slots you have for different spells, like you can have up to like 10, but like he only had like 5. I said he doesn't like he clearly didn't find all the stones or whatever they give you the slots. Turns out you can only get enough of those stones to get you up to 8 slots, not 10. So he wasn't doing as poorly as I thought, but there are some like talismans you can wear that increase your slot, so you can have a max of 10, but you only, or maybe I think it's 10, yeah. But anyway, so he was not as far away from like the max number of slots, or at least not in the way that I thought he was. So hope that made sense. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. But there was something else that I actually gave him credit for this particular piece of armor, not realizing it actually had another detriment that made his build even worse. Because remember, one of the main things about his build was like how he was doing like health management, and how he was actually, speaking of talismans, was wearing one that actually decreased his health and also didn't have his health replenishing flask equipped in the select menu, like literally fucking everyone does.
Hey, I just thought of something. Do you think that these people who so the gamers that like have been playing his character for him, right? To artificially elevate his in-game performance. Do you think they put together this build for him? Like he was like, I'm gonna play. I need to have something I can use to play, like to show off how good I am or something. Do you think like the gamers he's paying fucked him over? Because this almost sounds like the whole thing of like he didn't have all these things, and then he also had the thing that decreases those things. Like,
yeah,
that sounds like an on purpose fuckery thing kind of thing.
Yeah, because like I said, the one talisman he had that was decreasing his overall health, but it did obviously like. Okay, there are some things you can equip in the game that just are detrimental for you, but those are like for people who want to do challenge runs. But for the most part, if an item decreases a certain stat, it's because it boosts like other stats that you might consider more helpful. Right. But the stats that this talisman boosted were not ones that are typically helpful for the type of build he was going for. So he was just decreasing his health for literally no reason. But one thing that I did not give him as hard enough time for, but actually I remember pointing this out as one of the few things on his build that did make sense. The headpiece he had in his armor, I didn't realize also decreased his overall health.
See, this sounds like somebody messed with him real good.
Yeah, I mean it is the type of like headpiece you would see for magic users, because it does increase like other stats that are related to like using magic and spells and stuff, but it's like but it's not worth it to further decrease your health farther than he already had without a quick way to replenish it. So anyway, so I just wanted to put that out there. So I apologize for going too hard and too easy on him. So my bad. So all right. Well, unless you had any other little things to get to before the main topic, or...
Well, I just in the like couple minute break thing before we started, I saw your post on Facebook where it was a post about the protester being arrested, but and you said this is fucked. We are fucked, and that's my
Yeah.
state of mind about like the larger world lately. It
Yeah.
is, yeah, that's a bad thing. Like, that
Yeah.
that this also
Yeah.
makes a
How
lot
the
of sense. These bad things that are happening in a particular order. None of this
Mhm.
is a surprise.
Yeah. The government can just disappear people who are here legally and just
I mean, like
yeah.
literally for months to years, people have been saying this is what he wants to do. Like, this is what he will do if once he realizes he can.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and now it's all
everyone's
happening, and like none of it. So like nothing has been a surprise so far to like anybody who's was paying attention
mhm. Yeah.
to like details of things.
Yeah. And like I said a couple weeks ago, oh yeah, that reminded me. There's something else about past videos I need to talk about. But first, like I said a couple weeks ago, when I said like my frustration, especially with the more like libertarian crowd, is like they were some of the ones, at least like from what I was seeing, kind of shouting the loudest about like, oh, you. Why is everyone so afraid of Project 2025? Like it's just a distraction to get like seeing it's working on all
A
of you
lot
to
of
get you
effort
all
for a
scared
distraction.
and yeah. So it's like, okay, but they've almost done the whole fucking thing already. So
Yeah, I didn't see how far we're up.
yeah,
I can look that up real fast, but
yeah, yeah. But so while you look that up, a quick programming note, I guess. So I got some. I've been getting some notifications on Facebook that they. The last I remember seeing, they said like sometime this summer, like I want to say June, they're going to start deleting any of our live videos that are over a year old. So I guess. But then the other day, I got a notification saying that last week's video is going to be deleted like this weekend.
oh,
So
did we say things we're not supposed to in this new glorious republic on the last one?
I don't nothing worse than I mean I think if anything the week before that would have been the one to be deleted,
Maybe they
but
just
no,
started paying attention.
yeah,
And if that's the case, uh-oh.
yeah, no, but I don't know, but fortunately, like YouTube doesn't seem to have any of these like stupid things going on. So fortunately, if people are wanting to still check out our back catalog, they can catch it all still on YouTube. So yeah, if I would have thought about this, I would have put a YouTube link in the description. If I remember, I'll put it in the comments later. But yeah, or just probably just make another post about it on our Facebook page as well. So look out for that, or look out for me forgetting to do it.
Look out below.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I found it.
Oh, cool.
Our current progress is we are 41%,
Hmm.
41% of the way through Project 2025's completion.
Okay, so not as much as I thought, but still, that's like a lot for
But
just
portions of it are
yeah,
done. Like the immigration part, done. Like everything we're seeing happening now, we're gonna have more of that. Like that's how that's going to be. Can't do anything about it for a while. At this,
hmm
everybody just
yeah,
buckle down. This shit gets hard and
yeah,
probably violent.
hmm
Because
yeah,
messing with families that will have desperate parents and
hmm
desperate adolescents coming of age in this world, who will go on to create uh, aggressive direct action groups. And so this is ah,
yeah,
we're so
yeah,
fractured like Swiss cheese that like we can't have a civil
yeah,
conflict. I'm not going to say the exact word because I think that's probably
yeah,
a big no
yeah,
no on all
yeah.
things.
hmm But yeah, that's so yay that we're that fractured.
It's just
But
going to be like
yeah,
the melting pot is going to curdle essentially. We're going to
there's
come
a picture.
together like an Irish car
Uh,
bomb. Womp womp.
Yeah, the drink kind, not
Yeah.
the actual kind. That's like the opposite of clumping. But yeah,
What?
um,
But not the drink kind? Yes, you are correct.
yeah. Mm,
It
thank you.
it unclumps things.
That was quite a fun experience for me to
It
like witness your.
enforces.
I'm gonna say it was fun for me to witness your brain fact checking me in real time. There, that was.
It's a diversity enforcer.
Yes, let's make your vehicle more diverse in locations. Um, uh,
Got one of those
just the
DEI
vehicle.
cars.
Yeah, yeah. Just the vehicle, though. That's all that we're.
Correct.
Yeah. So speaking of segues, and me making
Wow.
one out of this conversation into the topic for tonight, man. So yeah, Matt. Gee, things sure are looking bad. But it looks like some people actually think that the way things are going is just the bee's knees. I have no idea why I started doing this kind of voice or how to stop. So you should probably start talking. Help me.
All right, so I was watching. This all started for me. I think when I was watching the Jubilee. Uh, it's like a mental circle jerk that they do, where like there's like two
Yeah,
people
it's
in
a
the
thing
middle,
on.
and they form a circle. You,
Mhm.
you think to push them around, but like they do it just verbally with their
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
and
It's
mouth
just
parts.
yeah, it's this thing on YouTube where it's usually the setup is like one person of a certain point of view against like 20 or 30 people of the
Yeah.
opposite view. The first one I saw was Alex O'Connor, famous atheist,
Hmm.
with like 20 or whatever Christians, but it's in a format where only one of them is talking to him at a time, but like while the one person is talking, everyone else watching, I guess they can like they're all given red flags, which is such a
Yeah, and
funny
they
metaphor.
get up to 10, then
Yeah, so if
yeah.
yeah, if the people think that he's maybe not doing so well, or they just want to hear someone else, if enough people, if at least 10 people put up their red flags, then that person has to get up, and then a new person, and it's like a race to the chair. It's like first person to touch it, which I'm amazed that like there haven't been more injuries, or at least not reported injuries that I'm aware of. But anyway, so yeah, but
I
there's
think they're hoping for that at some point, just because that that video is going to get a lot of views.
oh yeah,
So I
for
watched
sure.
the one with where Sam Cedar, who does a YouTube news commentary show that I really enjoy, and he's, he's kind of autistic with numbers
Ooh.
and policy, and uh,
Hmm.
there's a lot going on in his head. Uh, and so I thought this is going to be tremendous because, like, he he kind of is able to debate people on his own side really well. Doesn't matter what side you're on, he can
Hmm.
debate his points very well, and in a way that's so simple it makes you look like an idiot. And so I was like, "Oh, this is going to be amazing."
Yeah.
Um, it was really dark.
Yeah, like I started watching it. I think I only got like maybe like 15, 20 minutes in, and I just had to stop it because like this is just making me upset.
Oh, did you get to the girl where she's like xenophobic nationalism is a good thing, and how could you think
No, I did.
anything different?
No, like they showed her like in like the intro, like where there's like teased with like
Mhm.
little snippets. Yeah, but I don't think I saw when it actually got to her. So,
It
but
was so I recommend watching the whole thing because
all
it's
right.
you get to see people from because after watching the whole thing I realized like they're not real. There's a lot of what they're doing that's not trying to just pull something over on us. Um,
Hmm.
l- the things they believe are true and important are very different. Like
Hmm.
because Sam was debating like policy impact and the numbers around it, and they weren't. It's like their brains. couldn't see anymore that he was having that kind of discussion. And all they could see was that he was having a values and feelings conversation and an identity conversation. And like,
Mhm.
because they kept responding like that's what he was saying. And he would literally,
Yeah.
to the one guy, he was thinking near the beginning, so you might have seen him, where Sam was trying to explain DEIA
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
to
I think
them,
that's the only segment I actually saw the full thing of was the
like
DEI
what it
stuff.
actually is,
Yeah.
and that
Mhm.
it's not affirmative action hiring stuff. And he
Yeah,
kept
there's no
saying like
quotas or yeah.
it just means like if you have an opening, you have to like cast the widest net possible, because the most diverse the more diverse the minds in your group are, the better the solutions you'll get. Like that's that's just facts.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm. Yeah, and
information on
it's
that is not
yeah.
disputable. And
Mhm.
and while he was saying similar things to that, they just kept hearing him say like, "You should hire black people if I tell you to." Like,
Yeah. It's like they and yeah, there were several frustrating parts about that because one, I think because it's the format of the show is like first they say like it's like the one person who's like on their own, like they'll say like an argument or a statement to like this is what I'm defending and this is what they have to kind of debate me on.
mhm.
And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like specifically pointing out like how Trump and like the Republican and his policies about DEI or whatever.
and they
But they
weren't
kept,
and they weren't
but they
able to respond to it.
yeah, because they kept going off on just a bigger, like more general like
Yeah,
discussion or talk about it, and he's like, okay, but we're talking about like Trump and what he's doing with it, like,
and then it's like
and
they
they
weren't
kept,
able to hear that. It was like
mhm,
every time he said that, they heard something different, and that's
yeah,
and I was
and
starting.
they kept, yeah, and they kept giving that stupid like, well, yeah, we agree with like the principles of diversity and like inclusion and all that, but what we have a problem with is what this turns into, but then couldn't actually like cite any like specific examples of what they were afraid of happening actually happening. But
Yeah,
that's why they didn't want the whole thing
and
anyway. So
it just all boils down
yeah,
to they don't like how that makes them feel, so it's bad, and let me come up with reasons why.
yeah.
And
Or and that's one aspect. But I think another aspect of it is it's like I think this like so many other issues when it comes to politics, I think people don't even necessarily even have their own position on it or even their own thoughts on it other
right,
than, well, I'm a Republican and Republicans are like all the Republicans I'm watching on Fox News and whatever are saying DEI is bad, therefore I think DEI is bad.
and they
And it's
repeat talking points to you,
yeah.
which is what happened in the
Hmm.
Jubilee thing. Like these,
Yeah.
when they had
Mhm.
independent thoughts, they were ridiculous. When they weren't
Yeah.
having independent thoughts, it was just talking points.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, they
it
were
was
still ridiculous, but
it,
yeah. Yeah.
but it wasn't their thoughts. It
Right.
was like
Hmm.
it was prepared to be ridiculous, but also easily accepted. um,
Right.
you just they they're acting like NPCs and they don't see it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so the whole thing of that conversation made me realize about everything is with the two polar sides now. Um, we're seeing things very differently, and in some ways, we are looking at in some parts we're looking at just the facts, that the measurable things that are happening, and then we have a narrative that gets put on that, like the story that measurement is a part of, and that story can have has different degrees of basis in reality. uh, and whereas the left likes to talk about facts or specifics, or this thing affected this person or this group of people this way, um, where it's very tangible, real things. Uh, Weird thing about the right now is that it's very feelings and like intuition and um, Identity kinds of things.
Yeah, identity. Yeah, that's
Religious, like
yeah.
mental kinds of exercises, like these intangible concepts. And so when this intangible concept is the most important thing ever, well, it can never really happen. Like it's an intangible concept. There
Yeah.
isn't a certain way that looks like it. When you try to like nail that down into like really specific things, you just you're trying to just make everything the way you want it. Um,
Hmm.
but it's the way it isn't because you just that's your concept of what courage and pride and like
Yeah.
trying to force their intangible concepts on people who are more grounded in what's actually happening. And how do you talk to those people? Like that was where
Yeah.
my mind went. Like I've got somebody in my family like that, and where
Yep.
facts don't matter, um, because it's kind of like
Yeah.
the Constitution matters as much as I say it does, and that's fine. It's authoritarian, so just own it. Just be like, I'm an authoritarian.
Yeah.
I learned what that word means. Turns out I'm down for it.
Usage. Hmm.
Uh, they don't. They like want to give people copies of the Constitution because they have extras because it's so awesome, and then I'll support a guy who isn't using that anymore. We're to the point now
Yeah.
where
Well,
like
I mean,
it's a suggestion. The Constitution is
yeah.
now a suggestion. It's
Hmm. Yeah. Which, I mean, in principle, I'm like, okay, fine. If we just as a country are of the opinion, or at least enough of us, that, okay, yeah, we just kind of don't like the Constitution anymore, or at least some parts, okay, fine. That's what amendments are for. Or if, I mean, I know this would be a big fucking deal, even if we need to rewrite the whole thing. Okay, but let's get something in place. But it's just like, it's like we'll just pay lip service to, okay, we have a law and like rule of law, and we have this like governing document, but then if you're not abiding by it, like okay, yeah, it's okay if you don't like it, but like we have to have something that we actually
yeah.
are following and
Well,
abiding.
it's going
And
to be the Bible
yeah. Well,
because
yeah. Speaking of things that people
yeah,
push and don't really read or really understand how they're
yeah,
not really following, yeah,
or a thing that doesn't really breed unity. So like, fine,
right,
make us a Christian nationalist authoritarian country.
yeah, yeah.
You do that,
Contrary to what those he gets ads try to make
yeah.
us think about,
And do you know how
yeah,
how unified is the Christian religion? Around,
uh,
I mean, it's not right. So you make
yeah,
something like Christian nationalist focused, and you're gonna kill it.
mhm,
The country is going to fracture
yeah,
over
yeah.
this dumbest shit. Like,
Yeah, and speaking of the unity in the church or the lack thereof, this is something else I want to talk about sometime. But I'll just put this out there just for people to chew on. If people remember, and I don't remember which gospel, I want to say it was John. It might have been in others as well. But in when Jesus was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, like before the crucifixion, first of all, the fact that Jesus was praying, I mean, that's a topic all unto itself. But and then also at one point
kind of
said,
like an
not
infinitely looping turducken if you try to like look into that.
yes, yes. But then also him saying, okay, but not my will, but your will be done. It's like, well, if his will wasn't the same as God's, like how can
Or
and
if
there's
they
that whole
are,
aspect.
then God is a house divided against himself.
And it can't stand, and that sounds like the Satanism. Um, but
Dun,
he
dun.
prayed right? He prayed specifically that I don't remember the exact words, but basically that all of his followers would be unified. They said they would be one as you and I are one.
Well,
Which,
he didn't get that wish.
yeah, okay, but what does that mean? Okay, this is what I want people to chew on. Again, this is for future discussion. What does it mean when Jesus, who basically is God, is praying to himself, and God doesn't grant his own prayer to himself. Because he prayed for Christians to be unified. Christians are not and have not been unified pretty much the whole damn time. So what does that mean
Jesus
that
didn't have enough
God does?
faith.
I mean, clearly, yeah,
I mean,
but yeah,
he should
that's
have
just
known
something.
better. Really.
Yeah, that sounds like his fault.
Did you just victim blame Jesus?
Hey, if if the nail fits.
Oh, ouch!
Yep, that's how well it fits. So anyway, so yeah, Christians not being unified on things. What?
Yeah. And then they'll have
Where?
to unify around the left because we've been doing that,
Yeah.
and they're like, they know how to do that. Maybe we should ask them. And then the left just like erupts in celebration because it's the first shred of self-reflection they've ever seen on the right. It's so dramatic.
Man, I wouldn't know what to do with themselves. Like,
But the
yeah,
right's the right's gonna tear everything down and just look at the left and go, well, guess you're in charge now. There's literally not a enough of a cohesive thing that we have anymore to do anything. So
yes, and unfortunately, on the left, the
we fought
leadership will still
ourselves
be.
into surrender.
But unfortunately, the left will still have like their leadership will still be people like Chuck Schumer, so they won't even know what to do with that situation.
Oh no, we're gonna.
They're
I
like,
think the
"Oh,
left is
you
gonna get kind of like positively nihilistic about
ooh,
voting people into Congress because like we can't win anything right now anyway. It's like just let's just put exactly who we want in there. You know, it's kind of like letting the short kid play in basketball when you're like 80 points ahead or something.
ooh, that was me." Yeah,
Yeah, so we're gonna get
yeah.
all those
Most
people
people,
in Congress, and it's gonna be such a stark contrast between like normies getting into Congress because like people trust they're going to do what the people want instead of what they want. Um,
mhm,
where you just like feel it on a gut level, and the smarminess
mhm.
from the professional politicians on the right, because they're gonna keep doing that because they're like, oh, we got like a nearly 80-year-old president in office. Is
Yeah.
he over 80?
No, I think right now he's like 78, so he
Okay,
will be over 80.
apparently they love that shit. So they're all focused on the
Right.
old people and like they're from when it was the way it used to be. uh, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So they're gonna
Yeah.
stick. They're gonna stick with that. Um,
Yeah. So, and that's speaking of like things being the way it used to be. I think that is one of the biggest kind of obstacles, I guess, as far as trying to get people to not just see facts as they are, but even allow facts to actually change their position.
yeah,
And this goes for politics or like religion. And, this is mostly like speaking in our like context here in the United States, where, I mean, I know like similar issues are happening everywhere else, but I guess in some ways they're a bit uniquely ours, especially when it comes to the more like fundamentalist Christianity. Um,
and it
I
has.
hear other places don't have it this bad as far as that's
Yeah,
concerned.
I'd say
But
whatever's happening here has the
yeah,
power to like scare a lot more people than just us. Um,
yeah, unfortunately.
so that should be a sign that we're the bad guys now.
Yeah, yeah,
People don't react that way to the good guys.
right. Yeah. So, but yeah, but just that idea of 'cause, like people talk about the good old days, and it's kind of hard to tell exactly what days they're talking about. I think a lot of times they're talking about, at least here in America, a lot of people talk about like 1950s, like kind of that era. Which never mind that like at that point with how like prosperous we were, like our top marginal tax rate was like 90% or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I,
that doesn't matter. But
I also was just thinking, excuse me, man, where the hell did that come from? Um,
probably hell.
I was also thinking
So
about how, yeah, the highest tax rate was that, but they didn't pay quite that much. It was, loopholes and stuff.
right.
But the fact that
Well, I mean, they don't. The people in the top don't pay whatever the top marginal tax rate is now either. So,
I, I
yeah.
think that also indicates something about the society and culture at the time, because so it was like 90%, right? And it wasn't an
Hmm.
unpopular thing. Like people weren't fighting against it. So that was something that most of American culture saw as a good thing, because
Hmm.
not enough people were trying to change it. So they must thought it was good. So that says
Yeah.
something about like the mindset of people at the time, where like more people, fewer people would be striving to have that much money. Um, and
Mm.
like you can't get that much money without the help from a lot of other people who are trying to get that much money. So yeah, I think it's a sign that people looked at each other and at wealth differently then.
No, yeah, probably. Yeah, but back to the whole like tradition, like how things used to be or are supposed to be, kind of thing. I think this is a problem with whether it's conservatism in politics or in religion, and like whether people. I think this specifically in the religious aspect, whether people are actually like young Earth creationists and like just completely reject evolution, there's still, I think, a lot of, I don't know, residual effects or holdovers from that kind of way of thinking. And I think most of humanity, like before we discovered things like evolution or just how old like the earth and the universe itself like probably are and just how vast it is, and seeing how much things change, like most people, like just based on your observation, like as much as we know how much things change now, like it changes so slowly that just like over the course of a person's lifetime, like other than like some things in culture, I mean especially like farther back in human history, like things just change so slowly. I mean especially when it comes to like just what humans are like or what different animals are like or what the climate is like things like over a lifetime for most of human history like didn't really change like that much. I mean, things would change maybe like politically as far as like okay, who was in power, like what countries taken over where, but when it comes to just like what people are like the way we like different like ethics and morals, I feel like people just I like I said, I know things change, but it just still feels like people just still have a sense of okay, but this is what it's supposed to be, as if there was some like original like ideal way of being. And
Yeah, I think that's an
yeah,
artifact of human evolution. It's
ironically enough, yeah.
that kind of, and it can be our downfall if we don't realize that's what it is. That like it's an idea. This whole should be
Mm,
stuff, like it, it's all like a
yeah.
manifestation of what we want it to be.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think the problem with that is then it puts people in this mindset of, okay, well, if we want things to either get better or stay good or whatever, it means either like holding on tightly to either like the way things are now or with what little change they might recognize there has been, like trying to reach back to some original. Because like you think about even like 1950s America would seem like super progressive to you know vast majority of human history before that. Um, I mean, just the fact like, oh, we don't have slavery anymore. I mean, we still don't really necessarily like all the not white people, but at least we aren't like enslaving them anymore, right? I mean, they can't use our water fountains, but but yeah. So I think too many people, whether it's for like religious reasons or just tradition or whatever, and one of my favorite sayings about tradition, like tradition is just peer pressure from dead people. I always like that. Um, liked it so much it totally derailed my train of thought. So,
Well, that's interesting because I just had an idea that split two different directions in my head.
ooh, let's
Um,
go.
uh, all right, so like the division we have in the world, I think, is from interacting with algorithms online and
Hmm.
incentives for marketing companies and like businesses was to find out what people want before those people know they want it and offer it to them for money. Um, so then those companies are getting a hold of what we want before we know we want it. And so now they can kind of
Mm,
guide it into like their kind of product stuff. Or
mm,
um,
mhm.
it gets like diverted into like a path where it makes the most money for the fewest people. um,
Yeah.
and so what happens when these algorithms get like better and better and AI gets involved and it gets super predictive and it starts to offer us what we're ultimately going to want instead of not just the next thing. Um, so people are going to get like driven more and more like towards what they ultimately want. And for
Mm,
extremists, that will be a very extreme thing. And they're
mm,
going to move into living in that reality where like it's okay to do certain things to certain people for reasons that you have and nobody else does. And um, will we will the polar opposite sides look at things so differently that it's irreconcilable, where
mm.
our understanding of reality and good and evil is so opposed that I think that's where this goes. So I was looking at I was
Mm.
asking ChatGPT about some stuff, and I'm like, how does this play out?
Yeah.
We're getting more and more divided, right? Um, so what happens is the people in the middle who are like, I think both sides are nuts, and they're not, and it's not just a cop out. Like they're
Yeah.
they're like, I don't see what either one of you are on about, that kind of thing.
Uh huh. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
that middle ground is shrinking, and people are picking sides, like one or the other.
Mm.
So now you have
Yeah. Yeah.
they're taking more and more of the pie, and then you have a point where there's just a super slim number of people in the middle, and you've got these two opposing sides that are become like echo chambers for each other, and they like build and build and build, but they can't they can't beat each other because it's about 50-50.
Mm.
The only thing they can do is destroy each other, because each one to survive has to come out on top in that mindset.
Yeah.
And but the other side is doing the same thing. And so you get to the point where it ratchets up either so much that the whole thing collapses and like suddenly everybody's hugely in between. Um, so it's like a collapse is unavoidable.
Yay.
We gave over a lot of our free will to internet algorithms, didn't know we were doing that, and ended up like financially
Yep.
incentivizing ourselves to be brainwashed by ourselves without our consent.
Yeah, which is weird.
Which is a whole lot of religious overtones there.
Yeah,
There's a narrative in there.
a bit.
and
A bit. Yeah.
and it's kind of like the nugget in the spiritualities that mystics find, or like people who are more progressive in their faith find. It's those kernels where they're like, that's really something. And they're like, everything else, meh. But then you're like, how can you say that one thing there is a thing amongst all these things that you've decided are not things? Maybe they're a thing, and this thing you think is a thing is not a thing.
Oh, the things you'll think are things. Yeah.
So I think those little nuggets are the
Is
spiritual
that a Dr.
insights.
Seuss book?
What?
I was going to say, is that a Dr. Seuss book?
Which
the things that you'll think are things.
Wow, that's for like nihilist universe of Dr. Seuss.
I dig it. Someone make that happen. Sorry.
So maybe taking that mindset, I was just thinking of. Fuck, I lost it. But I
Sorry.
take it. No, take. It'll come. It's not going anywhere. It's still in there. I just can't get to it right now.
Just being a stubborn little fucker. Yeah.
As much as I hate it, that phrase "radical middle."
Yeah. Especially when Shoney's uses it.
Yeah. I think there's something to that, but not as a cop out. We're like, we aim for what the most of us think bring the world with evidence brings the world we want. So like, do conservatives really want a world where like kids are put in cages at the border and separated from their parents? Do they want a world where that's real and a thing that happens, or do they want secure borders? And I think that's the only way to do that. Which one is it? I think a lot of conservatives would say, no, I really don't want that. I mean, I would prefer a world without that, but like, how else are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Like, well, have you met people who think different than you? Because
it's like, yeah, but they're all communists.
Solutions.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, aim for the thing that works the best for the outcome that we want. And be careful of getting too. I'm saying this for myself too. Like being careful of getting too far into the ideology of a particular side, because then you get hijacked by the idea instead of the results.
Right. Yeah, and then what happens then is it gets to something that, as I was reading through, like you mentioned, like talking with ChatGPT about this and then you sent me like the answers that you got back. That gets to one of the first things that it mentioned, that idea of identity.
Yeah,
and I think that is a big way that people do get like stuck in certain ways of thinking, is when they make that their identity. It's like I said before, like with certain issues, like people don't even necessarily have like their own viewpoint on it, like good viewpoint, fucked up viewpoint, whatever. It's really just they just identify so much with a particular side, whether it's in politics or whether it's their religion or whatever, that say, well, this is who I am, so I need to abide by all of this. So it's really just as simple as, well, so if I identify as a Republican or a conservative or liberal, Democrat, it can happen on that side as well, or even like libertarians, anarchists, communists, socialists, whatever. There are just too many people who just have that mindset of, well, the people on my side have this opinion on this issue, so that means this is the opinion I need to have. And it's literally no more thought put into it than that. Because they feel like, well, if I don't think this way about this particular issue, then it's a very like insecure. It creates a lot of insecurity, and I'm saying a lot of this from experience because I used to be and probably still am in a lot of ways, but very much I remember back in my days as a Republican, that's pretty much how I approached it. It's like, well, if other Republicans or if like Rush Limbaugh or whoever it was like is having this view on these things, well, I identify myself as being in their group. So if this is what the people in this group are saying or thinking on a thing, well, this even if it's something like I have no idea what the fuck they're even talking about, but if they say this is how we think about this issue, then that's how I think about it. And it just felt like thinking otherwise would basically be to like betray my group and to be putting myself on the outside, and being on the outside of your group is a very scary place to be, you know.
It's like submitting to the leadership of the group, and whoever the group thinks is the leader. If you don't submit to that leader, then you're
Yeah.
not part of the group, and so then the leader
Mhm.
becomes the identity of the group.
Right. And speaking of like, you know, our evolutionary past,
Just
this
like in
was
churches.
right. Yeah. But yeah, but speaking of our evolutionary past, I mean, this is a trait that, you know, for different reasons, like was very handy at a long times because a lot of times, like for survival, like remaining a part of your group is like it's literally vital. So if you do something,
Yeah,
so for a large portion of our history, like being excluded from the group like sometimes literally meant death
yeah,
because like you were isolated all on your own, like no help. It's like
and following the
so
leader, like a plan is better than no plan, and a single shared plan is way
yeah,
better than
yeah,
countless plans. Um,
hmm
like it
yeah,
actually
and
works
then
better.
yeah, and then you know you get humans developing things like religion. So it's not just, well, this is what we think is best, but then just to the level of, oh, and this is what like our god or gods like want us or command us to do. So like now we like really have to do it.
It's like trying to encode
So
a shared understanding of reality into
yeah,
everyone. Um, it's weird. It's
yeah,
like our subconscious brain created something to train and encode the subconsciousnesses of other people,
yeah,
and then we're just like waking up to that now.
right.
Or like, what's like somebody built that on purpose? Who built it? We did. Did we know we were doing it? No.
It's like, but we can change it, right?
Apparently, the thing we think of as us is only part of us, and there's like a
Yeah.
big part of our brain
hmm Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is our God experience, probably.
Right. Yeah. So I've been thinking about like, okay, how do you break past that whole barrier of your identity being so tied up in these certain ways of thinking, like when it comes to like the practical things of like what your politics are or what side you pick on certain policies or agendas or whatever. And and I don't know if this actually is the way, but at least as I've been thinking about it, this is like the only thing I've come up with, I think, is to, because I don't think it would be very feasible, or at least in short term, like this would be a process that would take a while, is to necessarily try to just like break someone of their identities. And like, no, like you shouldn't identify as that. That's just bad. You need to just change your entire way of thinking. Like no one's gonna want to do that. But I think, and tell me what you think of this, is really more to, I think the way to maybe change how people are on, I might say more like peripheral things. Like, so for example, like when it comes to like certain policies, like, okay, what does someone think about immigration? What does someone think about healthcare policy? What does someone think about, name your policy, whatever that people get so divided on, and think that, like you said, the only way to get things the way I want it is to have this policy. I think is to just keep drilling down and not make their identity like in that policy or in this party, but in conversation, ideally with people, like drill down. It's like, okay, why do you identify with that? Like, what is the thing you're really wanting to get after? Like you said, like with the people who look at the things like, kids being put in cages, or like like all these people being deported and like without like due process or whatever. Like what they're really after is, or at least in their mind, maybe like secure borders. But in their mind, well, this is the way to do it. It's like, okay, but what if you like are able to have those conversations with this person and say, okay, like, okay, secure borders, I guess that's a thing most people would probably agree on, at least for people who would even agree on borders. I still don't know what I think about borders. And again, this is my kind of old anarchist self talking a bit, I guess. But
I think that, yeah,
yeah,
like they're practical. They can be practical, but like when they become like an identity thing,
yeah. So I think it's easier to break someone from certain policies or how their perceived identity of themselves like kind of manifest in certain actions is when you can put it in terms of, okay, you like no longer wanting this like super like draconian like fascist like border policy. It doesn't mean you don't want secure borders anymore. It's just like, okay, well, let's talk about like, well, what other ways can we achieve this thing that you actually do want? Or another thing that, sorry, go ahead.
no, I that just reminded me of. I was thinking about how conservatives or people on the right, they're not just looking for a solution to a problem; they're also looking for something that delivers justice to,
Oh yeah.
again, not for people so much as against people
Yeah,
who,
it's punishment. Yeah.
yeah, who they thought
Yeah.
were in the way of that.
Hmm.
So it's retribution,
Yeah.
but they
Right.
think that that's just like what you do.
Hmm.
That's how you make the world a better place, is crush the bad. um,
Right. Yeah. Because again, going back to probably, and again, take everything I'm saying here with like a massive grain of salt, maybe an entire salt mine. Like, I'm no expert on anthropology or just the general like history of humanity, but I feel like that kind of mindset was maybe more useful back when like we were more tribal. Okay, you're gonna have to remind me what I said because I started like talking about what I was thinking and then forgot what I was
it
actually
used to
thinking.
work better when we were tribal.
No, like what you said right before I started
Oh,
talking.
how solutions aren't just trying to solve a problem; they're also trying to like
Oh yeah, the whole like
the cause of it.
yeah, the whole like retribution versus yeah. So maybe like at some point in our more like I'd say more tribal past, we're still pretty tribal with things.
Yeah.
Like that maybe worked when we were more like separate and like segregated. So it at least seemed like it made more sense to be very much like us versus them with how like kind of spread out and dispersed we really were. But now with how connected like humans are, it's like we basically have become one big tribe. It's just a matter of how quickly we're realizing it. So yeah, before when we weren't viewing each other as part of like the same group, yeah, being like retribution made total sense because like who cares? Fuck them, Like they piss
They're
us
all the
off.
way
Those
over
people,
there, as Trump says.
yeah.
Have you seen that as an explanation? It's like, why do we care so much? It's so far away. Like he's actually said that.
Uh,
And
I
it's like,
haven't seen it, but yeah, that tracks.
it's like trying to
But
explain the world to Grandpa.
yeah, but now like with how interconnected people are, whether they realize it or want to admit it or not, it's like that whole like the whole retributive model just doesn't work. If our goal is like human flourishing, which you would think it would be, then yeah, like the whole just us versus them, like revenge, retribution, whatever you want to call it, just making sure people get punished,
Well, I think because the
and
goal.
not to mention like now what we're figuring out about like like things like how much free will do we have, what things are actually pretty like determined, whether it's by like environment or just brain chemistry, like so many things before that we have seen as like character or personality flaws. Now we're discovering like, no, that's just like legit, like mental, what do you want to call it, mental disorder or neurodivergence or whatever. It's like, no, this is just the way some people are and they can't necessarily help it, so we need to try to figure out ways to actually work with it instead of just like punishing them and making them try to be not who they are. Yeah.
See, I think that they're not. This is so weird saying they, because like it used to be me, and I'm like, I don't remember me then, or why I was the me then. I think is more like it. I think they don't want human flourishing in general, because in their mind that is destruction. Um, because their identity will have to blend in some way, and but our identities are shaped like that. Like every interaction we have impacts us, and so it's like trying to avoid how things are, like trying to prevent it from becoming how it is. Like that's really like if we could go back to the 50s, right? And we could just do the 60s over. That's like what we're watching happen right now. It's like they're calling a do-over on everything that happened, depending on who you are, from a point in the past. For Trump, it's McKinley. It's like everything since then, he's like, that was a bad deal. I'm going to renegotiate all those decades.
Yeah.
It's like trying to get something back that it doesn't exist anymore. Like you can't get it back. It isn't anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, reminds me of there was at one of those town halls when Republicans were still having town halls.
Yeah.
Where there was a guy who came in, he was going to come in to support his congressperson with the anti-trans stuff because he's like, there's a degradation of society. He was an old guy. But waiting to get in, he met a bunch of trans people who were there to bitch at her, and he was like, they're all really great people. And just meeting like a group of trans people being themselves, like with each other and with him, like he was like, oh, I'm totally wrong. Like this is the good stuff.
Wow.
And he came in and he said, I came here. He was like to support you for the anti-trans stuff. And he's like, and he like got a little choked up and was like met people. And he's like, I was wrong. This is wrong. And had like
here's to that guy.
Yeah, for real. And he was old. Like that was not easy for his brain to do. And I don't mean that as a slight. Old brains are like, we survived this long thinking these things, and they like don't want to let it go.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow.
So
good for him.
Cool shit is happening.
Yeah,
that's gonna happen more and more. Like, the more we all start getting ticked about what's happening and show up to protest things, and yeah, it's gonna get bad fast. Like it's crazy how fast it's going. Like the U.S. Marshals were used to force entry into the U.S. Institute of Peace, which is not a government organization. They just receive government funding, a little bit of government funding. And so Doge plus the U.S. Marshals forced their way into a private enterprise to get control of their information. Like, okay, so the barrier between before that and armed responses internally from one agency against not even another agency Like this is the barrier of armed of a barrier between now and armed conflict uh, has been removed. um, like that's
Hmm.
now an okay thing to do. The precedent has been set. Um,
Yeah.
and I know there's talk going on in the veteran community because they're super pissed. Even people on the right. Um,
Hmm.
we're moving pretty fast, but at the same time,
Right.
like the opposition is moving really fast. Like the amount of like organic protests that have popped up is unprecedented, and the the amount of people from the right who are like want to talk to people on the left to find out what's going on. Um, they're like, tell me. They're like, I think I've been wrong about things. I don't know what I've been wrong about. Uh, I need to talk to you. Like that's
Yeah,
happening
that's
more
good
and
shit. Yeah.
more. So there's going to be a crescendo where the waves like crash against each other, and then it settles back down. And the settling back down, I think people are like, that was real stupid. All of that was real stupid. Never want to have that happen again.
Here's hoping. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
But
when two equally matched waves crash into each other, it peaks, and there's that little like blip at the top that doesn't know where to go. But then it settles back down. But in the meantime, it's going to look increasingly bad beyond
yeah.
where we think it could get worse. I think
Hmm. Yeah.
this is the
Uh,
grand judgment of humanity judging itself. Like, is humanity good or is humanity evil? And if most of us decide that humanity is evil, it's probably the end of us because subconsciously we're going to end ourselves. Um, but if we decide people are good, all people are good and worth saving, then um, and if they're not going to act good, as the rest of us like see good people acting, then maybe put them on an island somewhere. I don't know, like, um, but not as a punishment. Just like we're not saying you need to leave the planet, but you can't stay here.
hmm
Instead of punishing people
Closing
who are like
time.
aren't gonna act, most of them aren't gonna act much different after that. You're probably gonna make things worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a lot of thoughts. Sorry.
No, that was good. But yeah, it's pointed like people haven't noticed. I've already moved on to second drink. Whether like thematically we haven't quite moved on, but I just that first one went quick. So
Ha! I got mine too.
yeah. All right,
Keep
but
it wrapped in a blanket to keep it cold.
no, so nice. But
Here's the uncrushed can.
ooh, nice. Yeah. So I don't know. So what did you think about my idea about when it comes to like people's identity and like how to get them out of like certain ways of thinking, like just kind of tapping into just trying to get them to go deeper and say, okay, with like all these things you're identifying, like what is it you're really after? And then maybe at that point you can show them that, okay, these certain like ideologies or policies or
Yeah,
items of faith that you're like so identifying with, like just realizing, okay, we're not, this isn't about making you like break from your identity, but maybe just hopefully realizing like these things that you think are getting you towards what you're wanting aren't actually doing that. Like I think like ChatGPT like talked about like reclaiming terms like freedom and patriotism because like for a lot of people, especially on the right,
Yep.
like those things mean certain things, but like no, but like freedom can mean like, it's not necessarily just
Like
I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
we got
It's
to start calling ourselves
yeah,
patriots. We need to accept the
yeah,
term woke. We need to call ourselves woke. Um, maybe even like repurpose MAGA, and we wear blue hats that say "Make America Greater Always" or something like that. And
ooh,
I also had an
I
idea
like
of
that.
like every one of like the accomplishment moments for Trump in his political career. Like he has like these iconic scenes, and he's like trying to make great TV, and it's also
Hmm.
to mark an accomplishment or something he thinks is awesome. Um, so this is my idea. I think it'll be great, and I hope it goes viral. But I have no control over that really. Every one of these key moments, okay, you take Trump's head out of the picture and put Putin's head on his body instead, and say if you're basically saying all of these moments, Putin did this. I want him to see it, and because he'll be so bothered by it. All these big accomplishments of his coming down the escalator, Putin head, right? Like he's kissing
Uh-huh.
Melania or some shit, like trying to pull that kiss off at the convention.
Ugh.
And she was like, "My hat keeps you out of the way," and put Putin's head on his body, trying to kiss his wife. Like these are all things
Mm,
Putin did. Strip him of his accomplishments completely. You didn't do that. Putin did.
mm.
Um, he'll hate that so much.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be pretty fantastic, actually.
And reclaim things. Like woke was a good word. Like it wasn't like a slur.
Yeah.
It was if I'm remembering right, it was something the black community used to refer to black people, other black people who uh, saw how things really were, um,
Hmm.
like the reality of the oppression, and didn't try to explain it away or just get by. And uh, like it was, that's what the right did. Let's take it back.
Yeah. Yeah. If anyone wants like to, if anyone needs to correct to that like view on where
Yes,
woke came
yes,
from,
yes.
feel free to leave that in the comments. That's just my like little shameless plug to like get people to actually interact. Because like again, I can see, I know people have been watching, but I'm it's kind of our thing. It's like it seems like we're like everyone's like favorite show that they don't want to actually talk about, like so, which we get it, but yeah, if people like who are watching, if you just literally just want to leave a comment just to say hi, just so we know you're out there watching. I mean, we know you're there, but like know who you are. Like, let us know your thoughts. If you have any questions, if you just want to like chime in about anything, really, or if you're just like enough about this, I want to hear you talk about something else. It's like maybe like, if, but I don't know. I'm just saying words now. So interact. Right?
Yes.
Yes,
I,
all that.
so,
Um,
Tommy, in response to what you were saying before about is that a good idea? What you're
no.
suggesting, I think it is. But I think there's
Which idea was that?
trying to help people get to the bottom of what they really want to happen in life. Well, that's not actually
Mm,
happening, and um, that I think that would work for people who are able to self reflect. But
mm,
I have someone in my life who like is very resistant to self reflection or the potential of being wrong.
mm.
um, and so,
You're talking about me, aren't you?
yeah. So I think for those people, asking like what makes you think that way, like making it external,
Mm,
um, because pointing to things that they like or don't like uh, can help like introduce self reflection. Also, like border security, right? And so that means that we need to separate families, put them in cages, and then the kids have to end up in cages alone. Like that's how we get secure borders, then you could say, well, do you want to be someone who's okay with kids in cages?
Hmm.
Yes or no questions, especially yes or no questions, our brains kind of like automatically answer. So even if they don't say it out loud, their brain
Hmm.
just did, um,
Right.
or at least attempted to. So you've nudged it. Because I don't. There's a lot of people who just won't like if you say, "Well, here's the result of what you're supporting." They're like, "Oh, I don't believe that's true," or Joe Biden did that. Trump's trying to fix it. Like, there's always a thought stopping thing,
Yeah.
and it's just like, I just want to be like, right, okay, but like, are you okay with this? Like, is this American freedom? Make it like
Hmm.
super simple questions. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, and another thing I think will help is like you mentioned earlier, there have been, fortunately, uh, a lot of Republicans who are coming out and like pushing back against like what Trump's doing. Is like this is whether it's like just normal people who are like this is not what I voted for, or like other politicians is like this is not how we should be like serving the American people or whatever. But so I think that can help. But yeah, I feel like that's really the only way to get people to break from like certain ideologies or like practical things that they're whether it's they're supporting or enacting and like doing themselves is yeah, like I said, just try to like steer the conversation to make it more about like getting in touch with like what their values really are and what they really want to identify with and seeing like so then in that way whether it's like opposing like Trump or Musk or whatever politician and specifically instead of just like the Republican Party or conservatism as a whole. It's like no, you're not having to oppose that. You like you just have to like recognize, oh, these certain people who are claiming to be on your side are doing things that are counterproductive to achieving what actually are like your goals and your values. Like I said, because then it doesn't feel like, well, I'm changing sides. It's more just that feeling of, oh, I'm recognizing how certain people are actually doing things against what my interests actually are. So I think that can feel like a little more like empowering.
they won't see it until it
Hopefully,
affects them. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's like a big part of it is like there are some people who can introspect and make changes, and there's other people because their empathy bubble extends further out. Uh,
Hmm.
Not just the people who are like them, uh, but the people who are very different from them. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, because I know that was a big thing for me. That you know, going back, speaking of my former like libertarian anarchist phase, like that was very easy for me to just kind of like detach from politics and say, oh, it's all bullshit, doesn't matter, because really as a straight white cis and then Christian male, like yeah, it really wasn't affecting me that much, or I mean, at least in ways that I could tell, or at least ways that aren't so overt for basically anyone who differs in any of those categories from me. But then once I started not just getting to know people from other groups, but like actually listening to them and like letting myself like pay attention to how they were actually being affected, is like, oh, yeah, it's easy for me to just say like, yeah, it doesn't matter to me, but but it matters to them. So that's kind of what kind of brought me back into being more, at least in whatever ways I can be like more involved. But
yeah, and then to ask that
yeah,
question, like, why does it matter to them? Like to be curious about that.
yeah,
Like, why do
hmm,
they give a shit? It's like, I mean, the easy thing with talk radio and even some left commentary is, well, they're just crazy. Oh man, don't do that. Just because
Yeah.
if you start assuming that your opponent or the other side is ridiculous, then you stop trying to make sense of what they're doing, and then
Yeah.
you can't figure out what's coming next, and
Yeah.
or how to even
But
like reach out to people. Um,
mhm.
like people are afraid of immigration because in their mind, America is white people, and if white people, but also black people, they would say, and but like
Yeah.
too but more colors is too many.
Yeah. Consciously or subconsciously, because I think a lot of people would like hear what you just said. They're like, "Well, that's not how I think about it at all." But I
Right,
think
right.
subconsciously, they kind of do. I mean,
But if you look
again,
at like what
speaking,
your behavior accomplishes, it belies that you do. You're just uncomfortable that you
mhm.
do.
Yeah, I mean, it can be just subtle things like someone I know. I'm not going to mention who. Someone I may or may not be related to. Um, I remember when like the second Black Panther movie came out.
Oh, was that one too black?
Well, I remember after watching that movie, this person said like, "Oh, that was just so violent." Like it's like they were disturbed by like the violence in it.
Oh,
Also, knowing this person was a big fan of the movie Braveheart and plenty of other movies where violence was being done by a bunch of white people.
but see, black people are scarier when they do violence, probably to this person.
Yeah, because also, I mean, yeah, Black Panther, yeah, it was violent as in there was fighting, but it was like Marvel, like comic book movie violence. Like there wasn't really a lot of like blood or gore or anything, especially compared to like movies like Braveheart or stuff like that. Where it's like that was definitely a lot more like visceral and like
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it was the black people all getting uppity, Tommy. That's also what it was. Is like they had all of the power in
hmm
Wakanda, right? So
hmm
that's super
yeah,
terrifying. They had all those magical weapons and shit. Like
yeah,
and then they're good at using them. Oh, it's just too
hmm
violent.
yeah, and and if you were to ask like confront this person about it, of course they would deny like any kind of racism. And like I said, I know this person, and I know that there have been several other things in this person's life and that what they've done, like even like decades ago, like things like being a part of a group and then seeing that this group is like mistreating people who aren't white and then choosing to leave that group, like good stuff like that. So like a little more overt, but when it comes, it's all about like the subtleties.
It's
But
like the degrees of racism. Racism
yeah.
isn't inherently a bad thing, they might say. Or I guess their actions and like the beliefs
Hmm.
seem to indicate this. I'm trying to make sense of it.
Yeah.
Racism is racism, however binary they like things to be. In practice, on the right seems to be a spectrum, and
Hmm.
like in general,
Yeah.
the worse racists than you are bad.
Right.
um,
Yeah. Or yeah. So I don't know. I guess this may be a bit awkward, but I guess in trying to keep with our recently established like first drink, second drink thing. Are we on to second drink, or is there anything else, or did we want to bother with that sort of distinction this week, or are we
um,
just kind of
let me
going with it?
scan real quick over like things that are shifting the narrative from facts to identity and values.
Yeah, because there's more stuff on the whole like racism angle I'd like to talk about, but I don't know if we want to like make that like second drink or.
Let's make that second drink, and
All right,
I just want to
cool.
make sure that we didn't miss something that would add maybe more insight to something we were discussing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
build grassroots power and mutual aid. That's something that's already happening. Will continue to happen out of necessity and just because people need to do something.
Hmm.
They're like, "This is bad. This is bad. I need to do shit. I need to do shit, or I'm gonna go crazy." And um, expose Republican weaknesses and divisions. That sounds like a lot of fun. Just like trying to pick fights for them, basically. Like, can we pretend to be like whatever social media thing we're on? Can we pretend to be like the opposing kind of conservative and just like stoke conflict and just try to get everybody to think the other side's that like everything's falling apart in the conservative branches?
Oh man,
I love that. That sounds like psyop kind of stuff.
sounds fun. That's what it sounds like.
Strengthen the left's appeal and alternative vision. We're working on that. We're not used to
the
that.
left should probably have an appeal. At least the Democratic Party, anyway, like should probably have an appeal first, and then
There's danger with a real solid alternative vision, though, because that you don't be careful with ideas people rally behind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Use strategic.
We'd love to take things too far.
Yeah, we do. We're like, that's good. More can only be better, and like, use strategic political warfare. Play hardball and leverage digital and AI tools to out-organize them. The AI stuff. I mean, okay, and they
sounds like something an AI bot would say, though.
But
like,
they got
hey,
AI.
Use AI more.
So on the right, they have like their business magnates in AI and stuff, right? But like conservatives in general don't like technology in their daily lives. Like they tend not to use it, right? So like, but who's going? So here's what's going to happen. All right, I just thought of this. Peter Thiel and all the other like big AI like psycho bros. They're gonna create the framework that the left will use to out tactic the right, because the right is afraid of change. And they'll be like, AI is really great for other people, and so they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot in a way. Nice. I like the strategic political warfare. That's going to be good. I'm already using that. It's helping me get. AI is really helping me get to the bottom of how I see things and what I want. And so yeah. Also, it's a great tool for fact checking like people on social media. And just like, hey, they said this sounds like bullshit, is it? And
yeah.
Like when somebody said taxation without representation is illegal and treason. And I was like, no. And so I looked it up and it's like, nope, there's literally not a single law in the United States against taxation without representation. Also, treason is like is like physically helping the enemy attack your country or providing aid for doing so. Like that's so no, neither one of those things are true. And so I replied and said, I didn't say actually, I just said there's literally no law in the United States against that, and treason is this.
Yeah.
No response. That always happens.
Right. Yeah, or I think your use of AI was very helpful, like in at least on one occasion, maybe several, like in more like religious conversations where I would say something like I do, giving my thoughts on like Christianity or whatever, and then like some super Christian person like responding, "Oh no, but it's really this, and this is why you're wrong about this," and then they're like, "Here's why ChatGPT says this is abusive language and why you're gaslighting and all this stuff."
Yeah,
that's kind of stuff's helpful.
And then she's like, I wasn't talking to you," and I'm like, "Huh, convenient that is."
Yeah. Or I think they later like said something like, "I wasn't here to get like what the phrase they use, like faith shaming or whatever." It's like this isn't faith shaming. This is literally just pointing out like why what you're saying is dangerous and harmful.
And if that makes you feel ashamed, I didn't do that.
Yeah, maybe think about that.
Maybe ask whose fault that is.
Yeah. So
instead of like you made me have feelings I don't like to have. It's like, you're bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
That can
All
only
right.
go
Well,
away. That's just gonna go away.
mm-hmm.
That's not
Here's hoping.
conducive to survival anymore.
Yep.
All right, so now it's time for fun with racism.
Yay. Second drink. So yeah, I think I said like my second, same as the first.
Yep.
More rounding third because
Yeah,
it's
and I got an uncrushed can this time.
yes. All right. So here's a thought that I've had on racism. Because, like I said, this person I was mentioning before in my prior example, like I said, if you were to ask them, like they would say, "Oh no, I don't have any problems with non-white people or whatever." And I think, like I said, in general, this person I would definitely not put in the like when I think of like people who just are racist, like I'm not thinking of this person. Like I said, there's just so many like subtle things that I think maybe they just don't realize. And I think if they did realize, they probably would like, oh, that's something I need to fix, kind of thing. Like, but so one thought I've had is like I think too many people think that it's enough to say, well, but I like insert non-white group of people. So if I like them, then I'm not racist, right? But here's the way I like
Do
to
you
put
like
it.
them as they are, or do you like them as you?
Right, yeah, that's one aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's like so. For instance, like some people might say, "Well, I don't hate black people," but it seems like they always seem to not like it when the black people aren't acting like white people.
Yeah, it's like I didn't
You know?
ask you if you hate black people. I asked you if you're racist, which would include you like black
Mm-hmm.
people, but you think white people are just better.
Right, because like the way I like to put it is like I like dogs. I still, as much as I like dogs, I still view dogs as, and I'm sure like a lot of my animal lover friends may not like this, but I still view dogs like on a lesser level than I view people. Right? But I love dogs, but I don't see them as being my equal.
Right. If it came
There's a
down to
difference.
it, like if you had to save a dog or save a person, like it wouldn't be a hard decision.
Depends on the person.
I
If I'm
know. I'm
honest.
saying in general.
Yeah.
Like this
Right,
person
right.
hasn't done anything to you. Like you don't know everything they've done in their life, and like just gut instinct is going to be go for the person.
Right. Yeah. The only exceptions I can think of is like like the ex, like she has some dogs, and I actually like her dogs. They're really cool. So, but it's like if I had like I'll be straight up. If I had like the option of like rescuing like one of her dogs or say
Rescuing, you say.
one of the
It's
what's that?
interesting you used that word.
Why?
You said rescuing, and I was like rescuing from her. Huh? What are you saying there?
No, I mean I'm
Saying they
thinking
need
from
to
like
be rescued.
no, I'm thinking from like the cliche like a burning building or something.
Oh,
Like
okay,
that.
gotcha. I took it in a different direction that we weren't even talking about. So
That's all right. But yeah, the decision like, but if I could grab like say like her dog Chase, or say one of the people in government who we've mentioned earlier, I'd go for the dog. Not gonna lie.
I do
So
like how people are tired of saying his name, so some of them are saying different things, like Tronald Dump. That's what people say.
yeah, or I've seen some people spell like Donald, but like spelled like Donold, like old. Like that's been fun. Or Mango Mussolini. That's
Yeah,
another favorite.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of great names. Jimmy Kimmel's show has a lot of great names for him. Like every episode, they call him something new. Like
Nice.
at least once, often several times. Like just Cheeto Hitler. Like um,
Yeah, that oh, speaking of like Cheeto, like that was
oh,
funny.
also Plays on the phrase like commander in chief, or uh,
Hmm.
I think they think somebody called him commander in queef once.
Oh, that's spectacular. But speaking of the Cheeto thing, one of my favorite memes I ever saw. This was like during his first term, so back when this meme was more accurate. So he was the 40. His first term, he was 45th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the meme was like a brief history of U.S. presidents, and it was 43 saltine crackers, an Oreo, and a Cheeto.
Oh man. And he even coats himself in that color. Like that's not his natural color.
Yeah.
Just like how like Cheetos aren't that weird kind of orange. They're more of that like yellowy corn
Yeah.
foam color.
Yeah, but speaking of like the Democrats and how like pathetic they are, it's
I want some
like think
Cheetos.
about like that was their response. They're like, okay, coming off of Obama, love him or hate him, okay, it was at least something different. Like we have a non-white dude, and he was relatively young for a president. So they're like, and then we go to Trump, who's like another old white dude, and like, what's the Democrats' response? I know, an even older, even whiter dude.
Well, it was his
Everyone will
turn.
love that, right?
It was his turn. He had been around and he was so successfully mediocre for so long. They're like, hey, he paid his dues.
But he,
It's like,
but he left.
what could happen?
So I don't know. Was there more fun with racism we wanted to have, or are we?
Do you realize? Okay, last thing probably about this. Do you realize that if Joe Biden had not run for re-election, right? Well, I was going to say there was a chance we would have somebody different. Kamala would have been primaried out by somebody else. She wouldn't have made it through. We probably would have gotten Gavin Newsom, so Trump would have happened anyway. God, this is the worst timeline.
Yeah, for real.
Like when you look at all the things that have happened, you realize like how this was going to happen. Like we were on a trajectory where like this was the most likely thing to happen. We can't change things that quickly.
Yeah.
And now like just every day this is fucked. We are fucked. Like near term, yes, we're fucked. Like we need the way I heard somebody Pemrose Permaculture, the channel on YouTube and probably TikTok also. I recommend her stuff. She's from Oregon. Has real good takes on stuff. Like
what's it called?
Pemrose Permaculture.
Pemrose. Okay.
Permaculture is not a farming thing. Found out it's about small changes to build something indestructible, because it's just what culture is instead of a political movement that people can vote out of power. Like you can't vote out American identity or a region's culture. Like,
yeah.
But so Congress threw away its last thing they could do. The courts can't stop anything. Like that's clear. At best, they can slow things down. And looking at this strategically, they're only able to buy us time to organize, to be more prepared or have more numbers, more people interested in protesting. Like they're buying us time to get acclimated to the moment. Like they can't stop it. Like they're just ignoring the courts now and pretend like saying stupid shit like, hey, we're not gonna tell you that. It's like, why? You need to tell me why. And it's like, nah, we can't tell you the reason. The reason is national security also. Huh? And then the judge is like, I have national security clearance. Like, you can tell me anything. I'm cleared to hear it. And they're like, you're not cleared to hear this. It's like, well, what clearance don't I have to hear things? And they're like, we can't tell you that. And they're just literally making shit up. They're just like plausible deniability for as long as possible to keep as many people on the right in the dark, because they got to slow down them realizing and waking up, getting woke. They got to slow that down. It's inevitable because they're overreaching like crazy. So, yeah, we got to do stuff to break through.
Yep.
Like, do you want to be the kind of person who makes other people feel this way? Like the way the right is, or the way the left is feeling about all this stuff? Like, just who you want to be? You want to be the kind of person that makes other people feel that way? Like, is that the good guy who makes people feel that way?
Not typically. No.
Are you a good guy? Are you a baddie?
Are we the baddies? Yeah.
T-shirt that says, "Are you the villain?"
Ooh. I like. I would wear.
Mm-hmm. People will go, yes, no, woke. I want to get a shirt that just says woke, like somebody like stamped me with like a big woke symbol or something. Take it back. Take the label back.
Do we need to start making shirts? Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe I think so.
So.
Yeah, maybe.
So here's a question: do we have anything more to talk about?
Yes. Do we finish talking? No, there's more.
Yeah.
How do you interact with someone who like made a choice that is hurting people you care about? And it's like, somebody you're related to, and they're still like, well, I didn't want this to happen necessarily. Like, do you want this to be happening? Not necessarily. Like that kind of thinking, where it's just like,
Yeah.
That's the shallowest of reflection.
It's like, well, it is necessarily happening. So, yeah.
Because I realize we're looking at the same events from different perspectives, and it's almost like we need to get to the point where like arguing about why it's happening, whose fault it is irrelevant. Like, it's happening. Do we want it to be happening? How do we stop it? Like, how do we make the more preferable thing happen? Here's the thing: we're all going to start doing that. Like, authoritarianism, it's getting less and less possible with how people are connected. And
Yeah.
you can't put that cat back in the bag. You basically have to be like North Korea, where like nobody has had the internet. Like, people they don't have access to information. But like, I don't think you can pull off an authoritarian coup kind of thing very successfully, like when the internet's still turned on.
Yeah.
You could turn it off, right? But like, enough of us already have the information in our brains that like it's not going away.
Yeah.
So it's more like, how is this? In what way is this going to fail, and how do we reconcile with people before and after that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they're I don't know. There was somebody
What a coincidence. I don't either.
There's somebody we used to be in a small group with that I think I shared a post about it was about similarities between Trump's actions and Hitler or something, and something to that effect. And this person responded with a laughing face emoji, and I DM'd them and I was like, I'm curious why you thought that was funny, and or what? Yeah, and they said that it's ridiculous how people think it's the same thing happening. If it was the same thing happening, like they wouldn't be allowed to say that. They'd be disappeared or they'd be in a camp. And I was like, but so then I responded with kind of a somewhat lengthy thing because they give a lot to work with in what they said, because they said it's something else too. And I was like,
I'm just curious who it was. So if you want to put in the private chat who you're talking about, I'm just curious.
Shoot, I forget. So I forget the last name. So
You just say, okay. Oh, so that's small group. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. There we go. That's who it was.
Oh, because there were two.
There were two with the same name. One was the short one was the long version. Right?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like both of them unfriended me a while ago, but yeah.
Well, yeah. So I pointed out that like Hitler didn't. Well, he wasn't just like suddenly camps Hitler. Like it was.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was a period of time where he was coming to power, and that's what we're seeing happen now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But see that made me realize something that I didn't connect with until earlier today, where it like, so fascism equals Holocaust in their minds. And if there's no Holocaust, no fascism.
Mm.
Like no death camps, no authoritarianism. That's how it works. Now, never mind the fact that there are some Republican congressmen openly discussing exterminating people in the country here illegally. Literal death camps. So yeah, some of you want to do that. Not all of you, but like, do you want to be on that side, the side that wants to do that, at least a little bit wants to do that?
Yeah, because here's the thing: for all the people saying that, like I said, I haven't heard about this. Like, so for all I know, like this could be like, I mean, I'm not saying like totally believe what you're saying, but like I'm saying I haven't heard of this, so I'm assuming this is probably something at like a state level, or I don't know if this is like actual members of Congress or
I don't.
But okay, but just the fact. Okay, let's just say this is just some
if it was national, it was people who are in bed with private prison corporations.
Yeah. So, but what I'm getting, so let's just say, even if this was just some like small town, like local legislature somewhere, like out in the middle of like, but fucking nowhere, Montana,
or like Idaho state,
yeah,
whatever.
And everybody's like, "Oh, you're so overreacting about this. You're getting so worked up. It's nothing." It's like, okay, but the thing is, this is how you keep it from becoming something bigger. It's like at any point you see it happening, you over the fuck react about it and stamp it the fuck out right now before it becomes something. That is how you deal with it.
Because do you really want to like?
I'm not waiting for this shit to get to Washington.
And even though like I'm no idea if it was Idaho or not, but like they do some messed up shit in Idaho, and so even if it's just Idaho wants to kill immigrants, Idaho still wants to kill immigrants, like
right? Like even if it's literally just like one dude, it's like, yeah, fuck that dude. Shut him the fuck up right now before it's two dudes and then four and then it grows. Like this is how you stop it from getting there.
He's persona non grata in that state legislature, and like nobody talks to him about anything. Like he doesn't exist to us anymore. Like you
Yeah.
like you cooperate so little, that person doesn't exist anymore. that kind of
Right, yeah, because
mentality.
like for the people who say like, "Oh, you overreacted about this," and it turned out to be nothing. Like, yeah, exactly. That's how it turns out to be nothing. Is like we take care of that shit now. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. See, that's the whole thing of like it's a spectrum. They're like, these racist ideas. First of all, these ideas are not racist. But secondly, like this is okay. This racist thing I'm describing is okay because, but like that racist thing, that's too far. It's kind of
Mhm.
like how Catholics tend to react towards fundamentalist Protestants. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you can love God, but don't like love God. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe that's just a
Yeah,
Catholic thing. Uh,
it might be. I don't know.
but we thought the way we thought about people who were very Catholic versus the people who are like very Protestant. Um,
Mhm.
very Protestant was over the top.
Yeah,
Uh, you could be like really into being Catholic, and people are like, "Nah, it's not for me." But good for them, I guess.
yeah. Knock yourself out. Yeah,
Yeah. So you can be ate up with something, but like as long as you're ate up with the stuff that somebody's familiar with, it's okay.
mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
But now we got the interwebs, and we can be ate up with everything all the time. And
Yay.
the old people are angry at the internet. It's
Just
like
collectively.
we should
Yeah,
stop it. We should stop it. And we're
yeah.
going to stop it by using social media and getting all of our information from authority figures or charismatic nobodies. One of those two.
I like to think of myself as a charismatic nobody, but I'm not that charismatic. So, oh man. So,
It's another T-shirt that says, "I'm nobody. You saw nothing."
man, talk about putting someone on edge. Uh,
Just and do it with like uh make it look a little anarchist. Just
mm.
keep people. It's like just to like troll normies.
like working like some manner of like maybe like a little like blood splatter like in the corner somewhere.
Like I
Do
kind of want to
something.
call Congress people and tell them things like it's like every day call and say the same thing. Like we see you, we know what you're doing, and I haven't come up with the third thing yet. But something that like sounds like is that a political message or is that a threat?
Now that'll
um,
definitely get put on a list or something. But yeah,
but it's not a threat. It's like we see you, we know what you're doing. Um, we won't let you get away with it, or something like that.
yeah. See what I'm
I guess that could be seen as a threat.
what I would like to think would be something that I would actually do, but as someone who like probably has at least a touch of the tism and some like social anxiety and like conflict aversion, whatever, like I would love to think that I could like go to some like local like town hall like meeting or someone or something with like congressman, senator, or whoever. Because the point I would want to drive home is like I would like again I would like to picture myself being like assertive enough to like be like really pushing them on something and them trying to like talk over me, but just I think what people need to do is just really drive home the point like when addressing like these politicians, just the point like you work for me. Things like excuse me, sir, ma'am, whoever you are, like you work for me. Don't interrupt me again. Don't talk over me again. You know,
I love it. Take back the authority. Make yourself the authority figure.
right? Yeah, because like because especially on the Republican side, they are supposed, like, at least theoretically, they are all about, like, oh no, the government works for us, like we the people. It's like, okay, do you actually work for me? Like, are you like I'm your boss? Would you talk to your boss this way? Like, is this how this dynamic is supposed to work? Like, shut the fuck up, let me talk. You're here to listen to me. I think people need to take much more of like that kind of approach. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you're like, you're here to listen to us, not give a speech to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or if you are here to like give a speech to us, it's very much in the dynamic of like an employee like giving a presentation like to their manager, kind of thing. Here's what
Yeah.
I've done, and it's like basically like submitting yourself to our scrutiny on like what it is you're doing.
I think
So
we can do
yeah,
almost real time feedback on things. Okay, so I was just thinking, with the technology we have, it's ridiculous that the main way we have to give our politicians direct feedback is through elections. Like, I understand that, like, that gets them into office or removes them from office, but then we
hmm
act like nothing can be done in the meantime to figure out what
yeah,
people want. And they do like these indirect polling things, like with QR code technology, where you can send people like specific links, like, here's your QR code, and then once this is scanned, like, only the person who scanned it can send information. Um,
mm-hmm.
you can do something like that where a politician, like your congressperson, puts out, they're like, okay, this is coming up. Here's things for or against it. Okay, here, like, I would vote this way. Like, what do y'all think? And and you can say whether you're for or against it, right? And give feedback in real time. And then they try to figure out the best way to get the wishes of their people accomplished in their position. Not necessarily like direct democracy where you're saying, like, vote yes, vote no, but like, what are your feelings on this topic? Like, what what are your concerns? Pick from these. Um, and then your politician is trying to address your concerns or your needs as best they can. And it, like, that could easily be a thing. Why isn't anybody doing that?
Yeah,
And
mm,
then the people who are interactive are the ones whose voices get heard, which just makes sense. Um,
right.
that the people who care most are going to be interactive, and so that guides things. And it would be even closer to a direct democracy, still representative, but we have the technology now for people to be more engaged, more directly. Um,
Yeah,
let's get shit done.
right. Yeah, so I'm thinking, what I was saying before about like as far as like how like if in the occasion that like their like representatives or whoever are actually having like town hall or like appearances like with the public or whatever. So I think it might just be helpful if someone would go to those, and whether or not it's like to actually like in the context of a specific like question or interaction, but maybe that should just be the thing where early on, whether it's like the first person who actually is there to like ask a question or to like speak up or whatever, if they do just take that approach, like I don't like, even if whether they necessarily like have a question or not, but more just like be the first person to stand up and just say, okay, just this, like I'm just here to like to offer just kind of like a level set for this thing, just like lay the ground rules. It's like this person works for us, like just set that tone, like
You
first
are the
thing.
boss. They are your
Yeah,
employee.
right. Yeah, so I think that needs to be
Yeah.
like the theme of these things. Like, yeah, just like I said, just level set, just early on, like make sure like that's the dynamic of these things.
Also,
So
contributing your peanut gallery noises to the experience um, is also a big part of it. There have been some really cool things, organic outcomes in responses. Like, there was one It was a Republican congressperson from national, and they were trying to stay on the good side of the people in the crowd, and somebody asked. So this guy voted on something that like helped end cancer research or something, and they're like, and he's like, I want you to make that make sense to me. How you saw ending cancer research, is a good thing, and you're like, I support that. Explain that, make that make sense. And so he got to the point, and and they're like, he got to the point where he's like, well, we have to balance the budget, and they're like, bullshit, and just like the whole audience was just groaning. And then so he's like, you don't want a balanced budget. It's like, what else? Like basically he's like going like, what else are we going to do to balance the budget? And so a small group in the crowd starts going, tax the rich, and
yeah,
and
or
it looks
just
like
ask them like,
it looks like it's only gonna that chant is only gonna spread to the portion of the audience, and it spread to that portion, and then a bunch of Republicans in the audience were like, yeah, tax the rich, and so like most people in the audience, this is in fucking Nebraska, right? Like they almost only got Republicans there.
yeah.
And so like this audience of Republicans is chanting tax the rich, and then he dodged it and they weren't having it. But just weird thing happening, awesome thing, where you've got like roomfuls of white people, old white people, acting like they're black people in the audience at Showtime at the Apollo. Like they've taken on that kind of feedback, a dialogue that happens between like performer or speaker and the audience.
Good stuff.
And so they're given real-time feedback because they're like, nothing works anymore. Like all the regular ways of giving feedback are bullshit now. And so like all we got is voices in a meeting. And it's really cool to see people like wake up to that, and you kind of like hear it in the audio in real time. It's very cool.
Yeah, or my suggestion, like next time, like your like representative or senator, or whoever, like asks, well, how do you suggest we balance the budget? At first, I'd ask, okay, how much are you making? Like, what is your salary? And then compare that to like the median income of whatever district they represent. Like, I think maybe like a representative or whoever, like their salary, like maybe it should be based on the median income of their district.
Did you see the video about that?
I did not.
I literally saw somebody say like, here's how we're going to fix Congress. Like here's my proposal on how to fix Congress, and that was one of them. Every congressperson makes the median income of their district. It's like that way when their district does well and like the median income is raised, meaning more people are doing well, you now get to do better.
Makes sense. Also, and the whole thing where like presidents and I think even other members of like government, like just even after they leave office, they just collect salary for life. And,
yeah,
like,
that's neat.
Bullshit. Like that should be like step one.
Yeah, while they're now making millions off of their connections they gained while they were in office.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous that that's still a thing. So
yeah, they're basically, when they're in office, most of them are, however long they're in office, it's like an interview that length for whatever they're going to do after they're not in office. They're like trying out for like who to be a consultant for.
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody thought that. Everybody thinks
also
that
just the fact that like on top of that, they also still collect Social Security, which fucking blows my mind. But
yeah, there was something else too. There were a bunch of other like real practical things that are never going to happen because people who would make those calls would be people in Congress,
Hmm.
which I think is stupid. I think the American people should decide what their salaries are. I think there should be a vote. um,
Hmm.
I think maybe people in the district get to vote on what their salary is. So if they're not in favor, if they're not currying the favor of the people in their district, then their salary will be decreased.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, give them like I said, just have that dynamic of we're their boss. Like, give them performance reviews,
Mhm.
which usually like entail like what their pay is going to be. Like, if they get, you know, if I want like a raise at work, like I have to perform at a certain level, like hit certain numbers, like all that stuff. So,
So another way to
yeah.
do that, if until or if we can't get access to like an incentive structure like that, we could do what we can do, where like their life is noisier when they don't do what we want. Uh,
Mm.
like when they don't do what we want, people are protesting outside of their offices in like all of the cities that they have them, because they usually have like at least one in their district and one in DC. Well, you can have people protest at both like pretty consistently, right? Like
Hmm.
we stop being a nuisance when you start doing what we want. Like Chuck Schumer canceled his book tour. He was going to go on because
Of
it
course.
was very obvious that there were going to be a lot of lefties showing up, paying money to like, even paying money. It was like $45 to like be in line, and so there were going to be people buying up tickets to be in line and just ask him hard questions or chew him out over and over again while getting him to sign their book. Just make him feel like such an asshole.
Uh, yep. Yeah, that is one like holdover from my like former days, like as conservative or even like libertarian or whatever. It's like I still fucking hate Chuck Schumer. That is something that has not left me.
Have you seen
No,
um, Jon Stewart? Have you seen his impressions on the Daily Show of Chuck Schumer?
no, but I feel like I should.
Yeah, he made a joke about how he's old, and he tied it into like how low his glasses are on his nose, and how like that's a direct indicator of the amount of respect like the right will give him. Like the lower his glasses are, the less they respect him, and he's like he's like something like, better watch out, or soon your glasses are gonna be dangling on the tip of your dick. Something like that.
That's good. All right.
Well, maybe we solved it.
Feels like it. So yeah, that's what I kind of want to do is like, yeah, just find some like local congressman or whoever like something's office, and then just get a sign and just stand outside all day. It just says "You work for me," and just stand there like for a while. Yeah.
We need to discuss your performance review.
Hmm. Yep. Or you need to be sending me an email every day of 5 things you've done. Yeah.
Signs that say you're fired. I don't
If it
know.
comes to that, yes. Yeah,
Pictures
hand out some
pictures of
pamphlets.
Trump's face saying they're fired.
Ooh.
Just do things that get under their skin.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Well,
Like signs that say your mom never loved you. Just troll them. Just troll them.
Uh, oh
Just
man, so,
oh my god.
so many,
Okay,
so many
just
possibilities. Yes.
just to like homophobic male Congress people just to make a sign that says, "Does your dad know you're still a gay slur?" Just- and put it on there. Put the slur on there.
I feel like I would need to get like permission of some friends of mine before doing
So
that.
that's
But yeah,
what. Yeah, I
that's
know. But I kind of got that idea from a protester I saw get under a cop's skin so bad at a DC protest. He was like, "Does your dad know you're still a pussy?" The cop was like, "Blah." started just started chasing after him. The guy, he was a veteran. He just runs away giggling because like he was in like Fallujah or some shit. So like this is
yeah.
he is not afraid.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh man.
Also, in this
See,
tactic I've seen protesters do is they'll sometimes I see them their backpack is under their jacket, and I think I don't know if that's an intimidation tactic because they can't see what you have under there. Like they know you have a backpack, but they can't like
mm-hmm.
see its shape. Um, to like gauge like how big is the things that you have in there. Uh, does it move like a gun? That kind of stuff. Like, uh, not that they have weapons in there, but the goal is to mess with the cops and get them to be themselves. Like if they're good cops, they'll still be good cops. If they're actually bad cops, they'll be bad cops. Because
Mm-hmm.
good cops in uncertainty fall back on training. Bad cops go a little rogue. So
Yep.
get that shit on camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like I've been talking about like how like I kind of want to like feel like it'd be a good idea to go to like a town hall or something, but also I feel like just me personally, it's like especially given the whole like what they're doing with specifically like cancer research funding, like as a stage 4 cancer survivor, I feel like I could like make them feel like really bad about shit. Kind of leverage that a bit. So
You're
yeah.
like, I am a cancer survivor. The immunotherapy I took that saved my life was a result of government funded um, medical research because all new medicines happen at universities with government funding, and
Hmm.
then a corporation, I guess,
Yep.
buys the rights to it or something, or maybe they just take it and then they make
Yeah.
tons of money on it. But like
I
that's
don't know.
how breakthroughs happen is government funded stuff. Um,
Hmm. Yep.
so like, are you saying in your ideal world that research wouldn't have happened from the government and I maybe die? And then they probably say, well, no, private industry would have done it. It's like, really? Private industry just tries new things that are really expensive just to find, like, they just throw money at things they don't
Yeah.
know
Then it'd be
are
like,
going to
oh,
work.
so I'd be alive but bankrupt. Is that?
If private industry gets behind it, you know what we're going to see is we're going to get a bunch of stuff that makes dying take longer but more expensive. That's what we're not going to
Yeah.
get things that save people's lives.
Hmm. Yeah. But yeah. So
Man, that was dark and probably real.
well, things that are real are generally dark. Um, but yeah, I mean, so I guess that's maybe I don't know. Do you? I kind of feel like wrapping up soon, unless you like have a bunch more stuff
No,
to
wrapping
say.
up soon makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess, and particularly when in regards to meeting with our representatives, yeah, I think just take that approach of like we're the boss. Like treat their appearance like a performance review.
They don't get to
Like
tell us how it's going to be.
right. So yeah, so keep that energy, and I'll see if I can find an opportunity / the courage to make some appearance somewhere. And who knows, I might like try to record it or something. That'd be fun. But yeah. But also, like, should probably keep in mind for at least two rather large reasons. I have very much an interest of like not going to jail for anything. Um,
Yeah,
those two large interests being like 15 and 13 years old, respectively.
I think if you
Yeah.
have protest signs that are funny, but also like are a slam, um, I think you, like the defense of I thought comedy was legal again, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like a sign that says something like, "Does your wife know you like penis?" just, or just, just a sign that just says penis on it, and you like bob it like real in a real obvious way, so like they have to see it.
Yeah, which reminds me, so back in the days when I did more like watching of the professional wrestling, so in those crowds, like people having like all kinds of signs. Two of my favorite signs ever I saw in the crowd. One of them was just the sign just said two, because everyone knows like that's big. Like someone has someone pinned, like the referee's down, like 1, 2, and then they always like break the hold at,
Yeah.
or the pin or whatever at 2. So it's like 2, like because that's like kind of a meme now. But my absolute favorite, and also because I have no idea why, and there probably wasn't even a why, but someone at some event just had a sign holding it up, and it just said "turkey jizz," and that still to this day is one of the most fantastic things that I have ever seen. And it was on TV like for a good while. So this, yeah. So I guess I'll leave you with that. Turkey jizz, and so can you.
Wow.
So yeah. So before you benedict us out, yeah, just the usual, like we say, like please, like whether you're watching it now or later. I guess at this point, since we're wrapping up, it'll probably be later. Yes, still at any point, still feel free to leave your comments. Like I said, apparently Facebook is going to start deleting our videos, but hey, we're still on YouTube, so I'll be sure to either in the comments here on this video or just making another post, making sure I leave a link to our YouTube page. You can find it on our Facebook page and on our Twitch page. And obviously, if you're already watching us on YouTube, then hey, you're here. So yeah. Other than that, oh yeah, I guess something else we don't do enough is like plugging our friends, like in our I guess loose network of podcasts that we have. Don't forget tomorrow night at I think the same time, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and so on down the time zones. Our buddy Jimmy Ligon, the show Unreligious, who like I happen to be on for every now and then. I'm going to try to jump on tomorrow. I think he's talking about the idea of like all religions having like some kind of truth to them. I have the feeling he thinks that's bullshit. Hey, but hey, let's find out together, shall we? Then
Interesting.
yeah. And then our buddies Derek Day and Aaron Tomlinson, their show Freeology Friday, which is on Friday. And then Aaron also has his, like, I think he still does a Sunday morning live thing, and he also does like various things like throughout the week, but I think that's mostly like in the Facebook group that he has. I can't remember what it's called. I probably should have looked that up before like doing the whole like plugs thing. But yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So yeah, if nothing else, yeah, check out Jimmy Ligon. It's JIMMIE LIGON on Facebook, and I think mostly on the YouTubes these days. So yeah, look him up there. Like I said, I'm hopefully joining him tomorrow and other times as well. Yeah, just ranting and raving and venting about various things, and yeah, that's all I got for now. So thanks. Remember, keep comment, like, subscribe, whatever makes sense on whatever platform you're watching on. Share if you feel comfortable, yeah, or whether you're commenting or even like we even like getting like direct messages. Just let us know what you think of the show. Anything you'd like to hear us talk about. If something you don't like about our faces, I don't know, whatever. Like any interaction is good interaction. So, all right. Well, with that, unless you had anything else,
No.
take us out, Matt.
May your things and stuff be forever with your people.
Good night, and we will see you back here next week.